Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be doing some baking. I'm going to be making some rhubarb and raspberry individual crumbles. That was a really roundabout way of saying that, but yeah, we're going to be making those. So if you want to see how I do it and how they turn out, then keep on watching. Okay, so I basically just started by weighing out all of my ingredients, which I will find the recipe and put in the description below. We basically just needed flour, butter, two different types of sugar. We just had normal sugar and brown sugar, and then rhubarb and raspberries. So it is a really, really simple recipe. So just got a big mixing bowl, and the first thing that we did was rub the flour and butter together, which obviously you can see here. The easiest way to do this, well, really the only way to do it, is literally with your hands. It just obviously it's just a different technique than like mixing it together. So obviously you kind of rub it to make like the breadcrumbs, and this is basically what the crumble on top is going to be. Some recipes use like oats and things like that, but I tend to just use this recipe, which is obviously a lot simpler, just flour and butter. And as you can see, when it starts to come together, it obviously forms breadcrumbs. So yeah, I just go until there's sort of like all the butter is combined and there's no like big chunks or lumps anymore. Obviously you can have some because it forms breadcrumbs. But yeah, it should be sort of like a sandy-ish texture. And then yeah, into this we just added the brown sugar. I can't actually remember the measurements of or the weights of everything that we needed, but yeah, like I say, I will pop it in the description. I know I definitely I definitely used more rhubarb than was in the recipe, but that's because I made like individual ones, and the recipe that I had for the actual crumble, basically I had too much crumble, so I decided to make some extra, or chop up some extra rhubarb. And yeah, into the white sugar I just put in some ginger. So obviously you can use fresh ginger and chop that up, or I just put in some ground ginger. I didn't really weigh it out, I just kind of put in whatever I thought was going to be okay. And then yeah, obviously just chopping up the rhubarb. As you could see when I started cutting it, some of it was a little bit floppy, so I did just get rid of those bits. Obviously it's going to be cooked anyway, but yeah, some of this was a little bit older, so had started to turn a little bit, so yeah, I did just chop those bits and get rid of them. But yeah, obviously as you can see, just chopping up into smaller pieces. Obviously you can do bigger pieces if you want to do bigger pieces, but yeah, I just kind of did smaller, more bite-sized ones, especially because I was going to be doing individual ones. So yeah, I just weighed the rhubarb there to see how much I had, and then sort of carried on cutting it to add in some more. This recipe is so easy, honestly. It's literally just, it took not long at all. Just chuck everything together, basically. Probably the longest part of this was actually either cutting the rhubarb or rubbing the flour and the butter together. It didn't take long at all. So yeah, obviously just keep cutting the rhubarb. This is quite an easy way to, if you've got a lot of rhubarb, obviously it uses a decent amount, so yeah, this is quite a good and easy way of using up any excess rhubarb that you have, obviously because it's going to be cooked anyway, in with other things. So yeah, I just kept cutting it up and then weighing it into this bowl, and then that all goes in with the sugar and the ginger, and we just mix that up. So this was before I cut any extra, I believe. This was just sort of like the first batch that I did. So yeah, just mixing that in, and then put the raspberries in as well and just combine those as well. It doesn't really need to be, like, doesn't need to be perfect, just as long as the fruit is covered with the sugar, then it's sort of all good. And then I just cleaned up, got rid of everything, wiped down the surface, and then we got the what are they called, the little tart cases out. I don't actually know what I'm doing at this point. Ah, yeah, I got some baking trays out because the little mini tart cases have the bottoms, so the bottoms come out. So I didn't want to obviously just put them in the oven sort of individually and they spill anywhere. Also, it would be really, really inconvenient to just put them in the oven. So yeah, I just got a tray and just fit as many on as I possibly could. I definitely overestimated how many how many this was gonna do. So obviously I just spooned in the fruit mixture. So I kind of wanted to fill it a decent amount, and then I kind of realised I'm definitely not going to fill all of these trays, but I did still have some extra rhubarb. So yeah, I didn't have any extra raspberries, but I had some extra rhubarb. So yeah, obviously, as you can see here with this mixture, I made 5 individual ones. Obviously, if you was making just one, then I guess it would be okay. But that's just kind of something to bear in mind, that actually it doesn't actually make that many. Obviously, if you're doing individual ones, then that's the amount that I managed to make. Um, and then yeah, obviously just putting the crumble mixture over the top. I just wanted to cover everything. Obviously, ideally if the like tart cases were a little bit deeper, then I would have put some more crumble mixture in, but I did get them completely covered, so yeah, I think it turned out okay. But yeah, obviously if they were a little bit deeper, then, or if I hadn't filled them quite as much with the fruit, then obviously I would have got a little bit more of the crumble mixture on it. But it's not the end of the world. I guess the main part of a crumble for most people is actually the fruit anyway. I mean, for me, I love the actual crumble. I would just eat the topping. Um, but yeah, obviously we managed to get them all covered, as you can see. Although I did kind of get away in the way of the camera at this point, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously here you can see I'm just cutting up some extra rhubarb, and then just trying to use it up basically, because I didn't actually have another use for this rhubarb. It was literally just gonna go in for these crumbles, so I just thought I might as well just use it up and then just do some individual rhubarb ones as well as some raspberry ones. So yeah, obviously as you saw before, we had 5 rhubarb and raspberry, and then I believe I ended up making 4 just normal rhubarb ones. But I guess we'll see in a second how many I actually do. So yeah, obviously if you had extra rhubarb, extra raspberries, whatever, I would probably recommend doubling the recipe up. That definitely seems to be the way to go, because even obviously if you did a big one, I still feel like that's not a massive amount of mixture to have. But yeah, especially sort of in comparison to how much crumble topping I had left. Obviously you can see in the bowl how much I had left over after I'd done all of the um, rhubarb and raspberry ones. So yeah, I would definitely sort of, even if you don't necessarily double up the crumble mix, I would definitely double up the fruit mix. So these ones I didn't really worry about weighing out the sugar or anything. I just put some extra sugar in the bowl, with a little bit of extra ginger, and then just mixed it up. It's, you know, it's rhubarb and sugar. It's, you can't really go wrong. So yeah, obviously as you can see, we made 4 with just rhubarb. And yeah, I mean, I guess I did put a decent amount of fruit in, so that's probably why. I did actually kind of distribute this a little bit more just to fill up that 4th one. So yeah, there was a decent amount of fruit still in there, and then yeah, we just used up the rest of the crumble mix. These ones definitely had a little bit more topping on them than what the other ones did. But again, not necessarily the end of the world. I believe I actually ended up scraping some of that first one off because I didn't really have enough left to cover all of them. So, so yeah, I did actually take some off of that first one, I believe. Yeah, just to kind of even it out a little bit. But obviously you can see with these, you can't see any of the fruit sort of poking through. So yeah, we definitely had a decent amount of mixture on all of them. And then after that, they just went into the oven. I can't really remember for how long. Obviously, it depends on what they're looking like and whether they look golden brown on top or not. And then yeah, this is what they looked like when they came out. And yeah, like I say, I will pop the recipe below for you. But yeah. Okay, so they were the crumbles that I made, which, if I do say so myself, I think they turned out pretty great. I don't actually like them, so I've had to give them to other people, see what they think. But yeah, everybody who tried them thought they were pretty good. So yeah, I would personally say that was a success. Um, if there's anything else that you want to see me do in the future, please let me know down below. I would really like to do some more baking videos. So yeah, if there's anything that you would like to see, please let me know. And yeah, I will perhaps do it in the future. Um, but other than that, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.